Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris Man. As always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. Per request from one of my subscribers, because I recently have done a series on entitled Things You Need to Know About the Music Industry. And when I first did the first video, I realized I might have to do about 4, 5, 6, 7 series because it's just that much to cover. And I really don't want to omit or leave out some very important things to know if you're if you're interested in trying to become, a musician, in the music industry. So this is part 3. Yeah, I think this is part 3. And I'm going to read the comment that the subscriber asked me to tackle or touch on, which is a good point. And it reads like this. It says, "Good video, Morris Man. Another thing that young artists are not understanding is the difference between owning publishing and owning masters. Maybe you could do another video on that. I looked into it a while back when I kept seeing articles about Taylor Swift and how she is re-recording her first album because she wasn't able to buy the masters." Now, I'm going to, entitle this video The Things You Need to Know About the Music Industry Part 3, the owning the masters nonsense, because that's nonsense, and I'm going to tell you why. Because most people that assume, because they've listened to Prince, that you should take charge of your career and get the masters. You're not getting the masters, and here's the reason why you're not getting the masters. They're owned by the record company. The record company put out upfront millions of dollars on you, hoping that you'll be a success. And they're not going to give you the masters. They own that. The record company own the masters. They're not just going to hand you over something that's worth initially maybe $50 million, but maybe probably a billion dollars down the line when they release these records sometime. So what makes you think they're going to hand that over? That's theirs. It's like going to your regular job and asking your boss for something that you can't get. But that's just ignorance. And when I mean by ignorance, by definition, just not knowing. Not mean that you stupid or anything like that. You just don't know. Because the record company put up front the money to hire songwriters, producers, musicians, engineer, recording time. You name it, they've done this. And it's to your understanding that they own this property. Because if they were just to hand you over the masters, you can go and start printing your own records, and just cut the record company out of the equation. Because I think some people look at things differently. I guess this is 2 points of view. Here's the first one. I am talented. I was fortunate enough that they took a chance on me and we became successful. Now I'm bigger than God and I want all these demands. I want to write my own songs. I want to do this. And it's like, we didn't get to the point where we got because we allowed you to do this. Because, again, realistically, and I've been in the industry for since I was like 20 years old. Realistically, they are not going to just give you these things. These are the company owned things. But there's some people that honestly believe that they're going to get this stuff. And that's because they've been listening to other people that don't know what they're talking about, or their egos are so big that they think that they're the only artists in the world making record companies money. The record industry, just like the sports industry, is short-lived. You lucky if you get 5 good solid years. You really lucky if you got 10. And a lot of people want to try to base their going to be success on the fact that, well, Madonna's still around, and Prince was still around before he passed, and Michael Jackson and David Bowie. Those are exceptions. Those are exception artists. The average artist is going to get maybe 3 years or maybe 3 to 5 years of success, and it's over for them. They might release 3 or 4, 5 albums, and that's it. They're not going to have a whole catalog of stuff like R. Kelly and others. But people believe that because they believe it. Taylor Swift had to re-record that stuff because she's not getting the masters, and it's kind of a thing of being greedy because I'm like, You're already a multimillionaire thanks to the record company. Because if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be successful and be a millionaire. But you want to go beyond your boundaries, and I want this. I want to re-record my album. It's like you've already done this. So why are you even bother going back in? Because of money. And it got nothing to do with, I think I could do a better job this time, or, whatever. It's about money. And the people that are that greedy are already rich beyond your wildest dreams. But they're just some people that are just extremely greedy. They're just extremely greedy. I'm not going to sit here and say the record companies have your best interest, because they don't. And that's why you have to come to the table with negotiating your contract with a music attorney that you trust, and they ain't going to fuck you over too, because they'll fuck you over too. It's like everybody trying to fuck you. The record company, the music dude, it's like everybody trying to get you. But it's up to you to go find some legal representation, because they bank on this, and it makes sense. They bank on the fact that they know that you don't know nothing about the business aspect. You're great on top of the music aspect because you're a great artist or a very talented person, but they banking on nothing about the business aspect, and as a result of that, they screw you deliberately. They do. But if you bring in a music attorney that you can trust and can read through the contract BS and say, hey, no, we can't do this, because there are some you have to do sometime, make some concessions, like, this is shitty, but what can I do? This is all they're gonna offer me. And I'm like, like I think Dr. Dre made this statement, I'd rather have 1% of something than 100% of nothing. It's like that's just the world. Same thing in just the regular business world. The majority of the things that work within that company are in their best interest, and then you're not first. They're not putting you first. You can't put yourself first. But there's some people that honestly believe the stuff that they believe as far as that master nonsense. The record company owns the masters. They're not giving you the masters. Why would they just hand over something to you that's worth initially maybe $50 million, but down the line when they re-release these albums, they're going to make more and more, and maybe billions of dollars off of this product. They are the company. You are the employee, just like your regular job. Again, you don't come to your regular job talking to your boss and, you know what, I know it was hard to do the day shift, night shift, but I want to work nights now, and I want a raise. It don't work that way. And it doesn't work that way there neither. But there's some people that honestly believe it because they don't listen to Prince. Don't be a slave and get your masters. You're not getting your masters because they're not your masters. They're the record company's masters. They own this. And they have every right to own it because the money that they put into it to make it. So again, why do you think that somebody just gonna hand you this over? Again, it's because people been listening to other people that don't know what they're talking about. It's like, again, I'm not saying that the record company or industry is a very fair industry. It's not. 99% of the time when you get a contract, I remember my very first contract, it was some bullshit. And we went and got a music attorney. He circled that shit. Like, no. What do you think? We get back to you next day. Okay, we can do the contract. Because they know now it's fair. But when you don't have proper legal representation, they will fuck you. And they will fuck you hard, So you have to take the initiative to say, let me make sure that I don't be one of those artists that got screwed and never was able to get another record contract because of the bad one I got in the first place. You don't know what you don't know. And what I did was I went to the library. I just started reading because I went through periods when I was young. I love to read. I just love soaking up knowledge like a sponge. And I bought this book. Well, I found it there and then I bought it. It was a book. It was called, and you can find a lot of these books out there now. It's called This Business of Music. And it walks you through how you're supposed to do when you go there to try to get a contract, and things to look out for and things to ask for and things to omit from your contract and things to be aware of, that when you sign anything, don't sign nothing unless you're 100% sure this is okay for you to sign. Don't sign nothing. I don't care if it's a family member that's representing you. Don't sign nothing until you make sure that this works for you and your family members that's trying to get you involved. And you hate to think that way, but it's like you're just protecting yourself, and there's nothing wrong with protecting yourself. You're not doing anything bad. You're just protecting yourself. because you could sign something that would tie you up for years and years. I give you a good example of that. The first contract that I was given, as a production deal for these artists. And in the contract, it read like this: any money that you make from this venture, and you take a portion of that money, which is your money, you make this money from the company. This is your money. That any money that you make with this venture with them, and you take some of that money and say, you know what, I'm going to open up me a franchise of Kentucky Fried Chickens. They're going to be entitled to a percentage of that money because it came from the original money. That's some bullshit. It's like they didn't get you hemmed up for the rest of your life with that kind of contract. Instead of, we don't have any clauses in the contract like that. You make your money and we make our money and we good. Instead, we're going to keep making money out of you even when it's not music related. Anytime you venture off and start another business with the help of that original money, we get a portion of that. That's nonsense. And my attorney signed that, circle that shit. It's like, no, this ain't going to work, So I went to the library and I learned a lot, and it's up to you. It's your responsibility to say, first realize that the music industry has two parts: the music aspect, recording, performing, selling records, and then the business aspect, the contracts, the royalties, the owning, the publishing, and things of that nature. It's two different parts. And you got to be just aware of this part as you are the first part that got you into it. And most of us don't know what we don't know. And when you don't know, you simply go ask somebody. Just that simple. I don't know about this, so what do you think? And still, I'm going to sign it anyway, before anybody else legally sees what you didn't sign. And when they take you to court and you try to renege on the bogus contract you signed, the judge will tell you 100% of the time, or 99.9% of the time, you sign it. It's a bonding contract, and you have to obey by the contract. If not, the other parties can sue you, and they will sue you. They won't have no problem suing you, And let me just touch on this. People ask this all the time, and it's a good question. A new artist put out an album, and then it blows up. It's just everywhere. Everybody loved it. Now they're anticipating this sophomore album. It never shows up. He's like, what happened to that dude? He had a hit on his first album. This is what happened. Like I told you guys, the record company's giving you upfront money to get you going. But they want their money back once you start selling records. They didn't just give you $1 million. So here's $1 million. Do what you want with it. It's like we're giving you this as an agreement that this is upfront money for you, to get you started. But once you start pressing records and selling records, we want our money back off the top first. And a lot of artists, they don't make enough money in the sales to offset what they owe. And you can't do another album until you square it off with the first one financially. They're not going to just keep giving you millions of dollars for no reason, or, we ain't got our money back here and we still been giving this dude money. And that's why. And then also the reason is, and I mentioned in another video, we have a tendency to just start blowing that money when it comes in real quickly. Put some of that money to the side. Invest some of that money. Stop spending all that money. You don't need a brand new car because you got one. Now you want to entertain and carry on like you're a billionaire when you're a millionaire, and that money goes quickly when you spending like that. Because they show Michael Jackson in some documentary, and he went one day and spent over $1 million on some junk. Or at least I thought it was some junk. I was like, Mike probably don't need that, but he just got money to waste. And there's nothing wrong with wasting money when you got money to waste. But they say Michael Jackson died almost broke. That's why he's trying to do all those shows. Got sick. He overextended himself. Even some of the people that cared about him said, Mike, why did you take up 50 tours or something like that? Because he needed the money. He needed to continue that overspending lifestyle. And there's nothing wrong with spending money. And we all enjoy spending, most of us. But you got to be mindful of, are you going overboard? Are you just putting yourself deeper and deeper in debt? You know, you just gotta kind of, I guess, be rational about what you do instead of I'm gonna live like a king. 60 kings. It's like in the end you're gonna end up broke because you done spent too much and you owe too many people, and half of those people are not good about taking care of their taxes. Because what's different from a musician, professional musician, and this is his sole income, not I do this and I have a steady job here, something that's not going to, kick me out of the contract in 2 years. I can stay here providing that I do a good job and perhaps retire there. But as far as the entertainer, you get your money up front. It's not like a regular job where by the time you get your money, the government ain't got their money, the taxes have gotten their money, and any other expenses that you have, and then they give you your money, so you free and clear to do what you want because this is your money. As opposed to, again, you get $1 million up front, and it's still going straight to the tax man and paying off the taxes on that. We just ignore it, just keep spending. Then we look up, we go to IRS about $20 million, and they don't play. They come take your shit. They take your house. They put you out your house, okay? So you don't want to go that route. But a lot of us don't think about the business aspect and say, hey, I want to pay up front, so this is the rest of my money. I can do whatever I want with it, like with a regular job. So those are things you got to look out for, because too many artists get caught up in that. They get caught up in that. They don't pay their taxes right off the top like the average guy does, but with the average guy, the government does that for you. And you should be the same. You should be as diligent as the government when it comes to that. When you get your lump sum, pay them. Pay them off. Pay your taxes. And be done with that. Instead of, I ain't gonna worry about that. I'm gonna buy another 4 more new cars first that I don't need. I'm trying to show off and live the life of a rock star, when that's just an image in most cases. Most people don't live like that, and if they do, they don't live like that for very long because they're spending more than they bring it in. But I'm going to sign off now, and I'm going to do, a series of these. But I thought that it was important to do the master thing. That's nonsense. You're not getting the masters because they're not yours to have. They belong to the record company. Anybody that tells you different and think that you're going to get them, it's ridiculous. It's nonsense. It's that Prince nonsense that, he think that he wants to get everything now from them. And they put up so much money to make him a success, but yet he think that he's going to get this. It's like, nobody gets this. The only way you can get your masters in most cases is to start your own fucking record label. Okay? That's the only way you're going to get it. Again, every blue moon, maybe the record company will sell it to you down the line because they think that they're not going to make as much money as you're going to buy them from them. But don't bank on getting your masters because they're not your masters. They belong to the record company. Just that simple. And it makes sense why it belongs to the record company, because they paid for it. So till next time, take care, and I hope that this has been helpful.